Today on the grid, it's Travel Photography Tips and Tricks Day. And the real Rocket Man is here, but we have a very, very special guest. He's vivacious. He's salacious. He's curvaceous. It's the one and only Rick Sammon. So it's going to be a wild, wild day full of great tips. We got lots of giveaways today, and we're going to give away a copy of my brand new book. The print edition is here. We've got some other cool giveaways, and it all starts in just 21.3 seconds. Let's go!
The Grid is brought to you by Platypod, the tripod alternative that is changing the world. Everybody has a Platypod. You should too. Go to platypod.com.
Hey, whoa, we're live. Hey, whoa, hey, everybody. Welcome to another live episode of The Grid. Scott Kelby here. We got Mr. Kuna, as always.
And usually we get like a 5, 4.
4, 3. We got nothing. We just got, you're live. We're like, dang. But we have a very special guest today. And I haven't seen Rick in, 4 days.
Yep.
Rick and I just had dinner up in New York. Rick and his wife Susan were gracious enough to take me to Italy. Oh,
it was yummy.
Oh, I had cacio pepe. Oh,
The best, you said.
the best cacio pepe I've ever had. Oh, it was wonderful.
In
And
New York City.
New York City. Yeah, it was great. Yeah, getting great Italian food in New York is not an issue. But anyway, good to see you, Rick. Thank you for being on the show again.
Well, it's always fun, and I want to congratulate you and you guys
On
your about 550th show. Correct?
About 550.
Somewhere around there.
Because
Yeah.
last year at this time, everyone, all the instructors, gave you a little note, congratulations
for
on the 500th show.
Yeah.
So congratulations, you guys. It's so much fun to work with. As I found, as it was reinforced over the last few days shooting this class.
Oh yeah, Rick was here
Rick's
doing
been doing
a class.
Kelby One class. All out we've been out in the field,
Out
right?
in the field,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Doing all about actions. There's BMXers.
We had horses, we had birds flying, and the highlight for me, and I think in the class, Jason and Dobson on the motorcycle. It's panic.
Yes.
Oh,
It was
nice.
cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, anyway, we're glad to have you here,
Yeah,
Rick.
thank
and
you.
today is Travel Photography Tips Day, so we put together some of our favorite tips because we're heading straight into travel season. Hey, can I tell them our news?
Yeah, do it.
All right, we got some news. On Friday, well, we're going to tell you about it today, but Friday it will be available. Mr. Kuna and I are doing a workshop, a travel photography workshop in New York City.
Hey,
New York City.
New York City. We're actually
What?
doing it in New York.
Cool.
And we've got everything all mapped out and ready to go. People are already signing up because here's why. So if you've been to one of my workshops, you get first notice.
Yep.
If you're on my newsletter list, so if you go to scottkelbyworkshops.com and get on my newsletter, then you get next notice. And then on Friday will be the first time the public can get tickets if there's any left. So that's on Friday. So if you want to sign up and go, you can go to scottkelbyworkshops.com on Friday and sign up and join me and Mr. Kuna.
Cool.
And now, Erik and I, we know New York well. We've both shot there for many, many, many years.
Too many times.
And my family's from New York.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, my mom and dad met at the Astoria pool.
Wow.
So my dad was an elevator operator at the Hotel San Moritz, which is now called San Moritz on the Central Park. And then my mom was a hostess at Schraff's in Times Square.
Wow.
The Schraff's is long
Yeah, we know
gone.
them.
But they met at the Astoria pool. And so the first trip I ever took in my life, I was 4 years old, was to the 1964 World's Fair. That's my first memory of life, was that World's Fair and seeing
Very
dinosaurs in the Disney exhibit
Yeah.
and being totally freaked out. But anyway, yeah, so I've been going to New York my entire life. I have family that lives on Long Island. And so anyway, we would love to have you join Erik and I. It's May 3rd through 6th. So we would love to have you join us. It's limited to just 12 people. It's just 12 people and me and Mr. Kuna, and we have all kinds of exciting surprises planned and cool locations and lots of neat stuff. So we're going to have just an amazing experience. We're going to learn a lot about photography, post-processing, travel, all the latest new stuff, lots of new post-processing stuff, and you're going to learn it all. and we're going to spend 4 intense days together. It is not a vacation. It's a workshop.
Yeah.
Don't come thinking, hey, I'm going to sit by the pool. Let's go. We are going all day. We're shooting at dawn. We're doing
And we're going to be
sunset
shooting
shoots.
at the right times.
Yes.
So it's not going to be as convenient as just like middle of the day. You know?
Yep. No,
But we're
not
doing the right
sleeping in.
things at the right times.
Yep, and we've got some really neat things planned for you. So hope you'll join us at scottkelbyworkshops.com. All right, that's coming up. Also, next month, I am out in Utah. Utah!
Not New York City.
Nope.
Not new. I'll have some more information about that in just a little while. But I'm going to be out doing a landscape workshop out there. So I'm very excited about that. So that's coming up. What else? Last week was the B&H Depth of Field Conference. You guys have heard me talk about it. It was awesome. And you know what? When you go to these B&H events, you're like, man, live events are back. And so it was really, really great. Everybody was so, it was the same kind of buzz that was in Monterey at the last B&H event where everyone's like, hey, we're out doing stuff, right? We're out doing it. We're living there. And no one's masked up, I'm going to say maybe 5% of the people maybe were masked. But it was just like business as usual. You're doing selfies with people, and it's just you're all hanging out together, and it was just very, very, very nice. So great job. Congratulations to David Brommer and the whole team at B&H, who they do a great job with their events. And so that was an awful lot of fun. What else? There was something else. I'm off to Switzerland next month. My brother and I are doing a trip to Switzerland just for photography. We rarely ever get to do that. Now, my brother's not a super serious photographer, so he's just going to come hang out with me. So what we'll do is we'll shoot at dawn, and then the rest of the day we're tourists.
Yeah.
So
and your
kind
brother,
of a
your brother
vacation.
will get into some mischief as well during the day.
He will get into mischief, and will also he shoots with his iPhone primarily. Yep. He's an iPhoneographer. He does have a Canon. I gave him like a Canon 80D, and which is a great camera. But he's like, and it's on his iPad. Like we're all sitting there at dinner, right? We all have our laptops and all because Erik has been on trips with my brother and stuff. We're all working, and he's over there with his iPad. Yeah, looking at the shots he already took. And did he have to transfer them from his phone to his iPad? No, they're already on his iPad. They're already in Lightroom. He's like, oh.
It's like Susan, right?
Yes, like
you
Susan
saw her in
Salmon.
China, right?
Oh, yeah.
We're downloading, she's uploading.
Yeah, we're downloading, she's uploading. Like, we're not even downloading. We're just looking at it on a little tiny screen like this, and she's like, oh, look what I just did. And we're all like...
Well, and that's what's great about this, is that's why we're having the iPhone photography conference, because...
That was the other thing.
There is an iPhone photography conference coming up, and that's when you get down to it. Like, these iPhones have become just as powerful, if not more powerful in ways, than our cameras, than our DSLRs and mirrorless cameras. So there's a whole conference dedicated to getting you up to speed, 2 days intensive, anything you need to know about getting up to speed with your iPhone. But not only that, the day before, we have a pre-conference day where we're going to have a course just on beginner iPhone stuff that Jefferson Graham's teaching. So we have everything you need to know all about your iPhone, 2 days, March 28th and 29th. Join us. Tons of photographers have already signed up.
Yeah, it is booking up at a shockingly fast rate.
We are so happy. I'm so happy that everybody's so excited about the topic.
I think a lot of it is because of Rob Foldy.
Could be.
How about Susan Salmon? How about Susan Salmon?
How about Susan Salmon?
First time a solo class.
Can I tell you something? Susan is a very, very good iPhoneographer.
She taught me.
She's one of those people that inspired a generation. So
an older generation.
An older generation. Yeah, we're all old. Anyway, but we're glad to have you guys here. If you have questions about travel photography, because we're going to be giving travel photography tips the whole class, pop them in the comments. Why would you want to make a comment today, Erik?
Well, you'd want to make a comment because you want to win prizes, because we're very generous around here on the grid. We
Ridiculously.
give away too many prizes.
Way too many.
Speaking of prizes, what do we have today? Let's see. We've got a Platypod multi-accessory kit.
I happen to have one right here.
Giving one of those away. It's everything you need to fully outfit your Platypod.
And we know you have a Platypod.
Yeah.
We know you already have one of those.
And if you don't have a Platypod, why don't you have one?
There you go. Next.
All right, and then we're going to be giving away a copy of Scott's travel photography book. You can get that over at Amazon right there. You've got the print and the ebook, the Kindle version there. We're giving that away for free just for somebody today, as well as an ebook version of your new Write It, Shoot It, Retouch It book. Yeah, that was going to come
What
up
is it?
Write It, Shoot It, Retouch It book. which is in print. It's in stock, but it hasn't shipped yet. But it should be any day now. It's over there, and it says still says February 21st, but it could be sooner.
Oh yeah, it's already been shipped. We have copies here already. Rocky Nook has them in stock. You can get them from Rocky
any
Nook.
day now.
Today we're going to give away a print one though, an actual print one. So that's coming up.
Oh yeah, that's right. And then On One Effects, we're going to be giving away On One Effects 2023 plugin for Photoshop and Lightroom. And then we're going to be giving away one of the V-Flats from V-Flat World. So and this is for U.S. shipping only, so only enter if you're in the U.S. or have a U.S. shipping address. Or the other thing is everybody wins at V-Flat World because you can get 10% off using the code Kelby10 at checkout. All right, and then we've got people joining us all over the place. We've got Doll saying hi from a cold and windy Utah, one of my favorite places to shoot. Rose K joining us all the way from New Zealand. Carl joining us all the way from a sunny Costa Rica on vacation.
Nice.
Wow, that's dedication to be on vacation and watching the grid. Thanks, Carl.
Yeah.
And then Mike's joining us from Phoenix, Arizona. George from Palm Springs. Philip from Newport News, Virginia. Bob from Tucson. Zach from Colorado. We've got Steve joining us from Northern Arizona. Paul saying hi from St. Louis. Mohammed saying hi all the way from Cairo, Egypt. Mariana saying hi from the Grid family all the way from London. So hey everybody, if you got any questions for us or for Rick or for anything on travel photography related with your gear, locations, anything, just ask us in the chat. And then reminder on those for the prizes, just leave us a comment. Tell us what you'd like to win.
All right, there we go. Okay, so let's get on to our travel photography tips. And I'll start off with one that and if you guys have watched any of my classes on travel photography or heard me talk about it, you've probably heard me talk about how important it is to travel light. And I think our industry seems to be going through a let's make everything light era.
Yeah.
Because honestly, carrying around a bunch of crap gets old. And the older you get, the older it gets, right? And so Preach it. So I just this week I got an email from somebody else that said, Scott, I bought this lens and you always brag about it, and they're going on and on about how crazy they are about this lens. And so this is and I'm shooting a Canon. I have a Canon R6 II here, and so this is my travel lens. It is a 24 to 240. All right, so it's one lens that goes from wide angle all the way to 240 millimeters. It's a very light lens. It's a very inexpensive. This lens is less than $1,000. It is super sharp. How sharp? Super sharp. It is super sharp, shockingly. Now, I will say this. Mirrorless lenses in general are very sharp.
Oh, yeah.
So this is not something that is like all of the lenses made by everybody now in mirrorless, made by Nikon, made by Sony, they're all very, very sharp.
Yep.
But now Sony just uses regular lenses, right? Their mount is the same for their mirrorless
Well, I
cameras.
just switched, so I don't know what they used before.
What? Wait a minute. Wait. What? Rick, the longest supporting Canon shooter in the world.
And
That I know, at least.
And one of the oldest. You know, Mel Brooks is like the history of the world?
Yeah.
I was born before he made that movie.
Wow. Wow. So anyway, Rick is not that old. Don't let him fool you. So here's the thing. For as long as I've been a photographer, Rick was a Canon photographer. And then I look and I see Rick posting about a Sony, and I about fell out of my chair. I called Erik and I go, Erik, what the heck? So, Rick, if you want to talk about it, because Richie Rich is asking, Rick Sammon's a Sony shooter now? Are Scott and Erik next?
Well, I upped my game. You know, as far as I love all types of photography. I tell people that my specialty is not specializing, right?
Yep.
But I love action photography. I like wildlife photography. And in wildlife photography, most of the time you can't get as close as you want. You're on safari in Africa, you can't get as close as you want. So I'm shooting with the A1, the uncompressed raw files. I was talking to Erik about this before. Those, yes, they're giant files, right? But I could have an animal, fill maybe 25% of the frame, and with all that information in the uncompressed raw file, I could crop in and get a great shot. So that's one reason. Also, the 200 and 600 is more beneficial, I think, to a wildlife photographer than the 100 to 500. And the focus tracking. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but it locks on it. You can set it up. You can set up zones, but you can set it up to lock in on a subject, and then as the subject moves, it tracks it all around.
Yeah, I know. A buddy of mine who shoots Sony went to an air show with me,
Yeah.
and he was showing us his stuff.
No.
First off, he was showing how far he could zoom. He could zoom into the cockpit and see the guy's
know.
lips. You're
With the
like,
six-
what? So, sometimes they take off.
Yeah.
That's how you see
So
it.
anyway, he was like in the cockpit. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh my God. Andy Lay is the guy. Andy is
Oh, I know.
great.
And
for
he was with us in China, where you
Yeah.
had that lens.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, it was funny because before we went to China, I met Andy at an air show.
That's funny.
Andy sent me a picture of a selfie we did. And I'm like, oh yeah, that guy.
He's a good photographer.
Oh, he's a good person. He's been on some of my workshops as well. Andy's not only good at photography, he's really good at the post stuff
Yeah,
too. He's
I
just a
remember.
very talented guy. And dude, he flies a drone like a boss.
I remember he had it there. He did
Yeah, he
coming
took
in on it.
shots in what you call it in China that were
Yeah.
amazing. He's just a very talented guy. So we really don't like him. So anyway, there's one thing we hate: it's talent. He's so he showed me. He did an example of
the tracking.
and it does.
Yep.
So are Erik and I? Yes. Well, I want to announce today that Erik and I have both switched. No, we haven't. Just kidding.
I've never been a Canon, Sony, or Nikon shooter. I kind of always looked at it
Yeah.
like I've been very independent. Like I will
He
say,
rents
I say
all
that
kinds of stuff.
Sony is my second. Like I do have a lot of Canon gear, and part of it is the used Canon gear.
Right.
But I will say Sony is definitely a second. Like I love, I've done a lot of work with the A7 IV, which is now the A7 V. That's a great camera. So awesome stuff.
Use the
that they
fast
have.
cards, the C-fast
Yeah,
cards.
yeah, it's
you
great
you
stuff.
need that. These files are so big. I found
You
a
do.
big difference that if
do.
you use the SD cards as opposed to the
But,
C-fast.
yeah,
but it
the
is.
fast, yeah.
Anyways, but you get down to it, they're all great cameras.
I know,
They're
but
all
you know
great
what?
cameras.
There is something that Rick's not saying about Sony. Their stuff's expensive as
It
crap.
is more expensive.
Dude, everything of Sony, every lens,
I don't think
every.
I think the 200 to 600 is cheaper than the 100 to 500.
It is.
It
Let's-
may
we could
be
look,
that
we could look.
one. It
No,
may be
he is-
that one.
He is,
rare-
he is right, and that lens for air shows. That's the lens I had in our air show class.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
the 206. I'm telling you, that combination, the 200-600 with the Sonys, that is a great combination.
I
for
have
an
a
air
150 to 600.
show. I know, but
It's very nice.
yeah,
It's very nice.
it is. They're all great. They're all nice.
Yeah. Anyway, but everything outside
There
of
it
that
is.
of Sony is crazy expensive.
Yeah, that's about $500 less than I
Yeah.
think the.
You have to be
It is.
very
It's
yeah.
$500
So
less.
Sony cameras are made for attorneys, doctors, hedge fund managers, Wall Street brokers, things like that. For everybody else, any other camera band is affordable, but Sony is like, yeah, it's look at it. There's the Canon 100 to 500.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Canon is more expensive. We found the one time history. Now, here's the thing. Rick obviously is an unlimited amount of money. Look at the shirts Rick wears. This isn't a shirt you buy like I do at Walmart. It's not a black T-shirt.
Okay.
Look at that thing.
Okay. You know Tommy Emmanuel, the guitar player? Well,
No.
well, you know of him. Anyway, he's one of the most famous acoustic guitar players. He gave me some good advice once. He said, dress up and show up. That's half the deal, right? I dressed up, I show up. You know, you guys are doing most of the talking. I could just sit here and have fun.
I didn't dress up. Did you dress up?
I just wake up.
Oh, look at the detail.
that. Look at the detail. It's stunning.
You know, maybe we could
it
do
looks
a
like it's
cla-
taken with a Sony.
Maybe we could do a macro class.
A7V, what is it?
Macro class.
It's a
Well, yeah,
macro
I don't
class.
know if that's a Sony or a Canon. I'm not sure.
It's very, very nice. All right. Anyway, look, so what I would recommend getting back to our flipping stuff
yeah.
is, and Sony makes a 24 to 240, by the way, and it's $11,000.
It is expensive.
How much is this lens at B&H? Because this is the only place anybody buys anything. B&H. When it comes to you buy everything in your life on Amazon, but when it comes to camera gear, we switch to a different site. All right. So
It's like $899.
$899 for the Canon.
And then the Sony is $1,048.
48. Don't say 48. Say what it is. 1,050. Anyway,
It's a $150 more.
$150 more, which is a bargain for most Sony stuff. Anyway, So that's the one thing that I tell people. I said, because you know what it is with travel photography. Now I don't know about you guys, but like I'm getting to take a trip with my brother, right? But while I will be doing photography, I'm not going there to shoot photography. I'm going because my brother and I haven't been to Switzerland. I went to Switzerland when I was engaged 34 years ago. I wasn't even married yet, and we went there together, and it was wonderful. And that was the last time I've been in Switzerland. So my brother, maybe he's been to Switzerland one time, but it was probably that long ago. So we're going to see Switzerland. I will take pictures, but I'm on vacation with my bro. And like I said, he's not a full-time photographer and stuff. You know, he's going to be shooting with his iPhone, and he'll get great shots.
Yeah.
He'll come back with great shots. He always does. He's got a great eye, which is really most of it. So, but most of the time when I take photos, I am with my family on vacation. So my whole family, the kids are there, my wife is there. Sometimes my mother and father-in-law are there. All these, and you don't get to really shoot in the great light, and you don't get to have special things happen. You're on regular tour buses and all that kind of stuff. I was just showing a picture to Erik the other day. He's like, "Man, that's a really nice shot." And I'm like, "I shot that out of a moving tour bus." This is just a little trick you can do. If you take your lens and you put it directly against the glass, you can actually shoot pretty well. It's almost like putting a UV filter in front of it. Now, if it's a filthy bus, if it's filthy, there's not much that you can do. But what happens is what you get when you shoot through glass is reflections.
Yep.
Now, if you happen to have a rubber lens hood, it's perfect. And then, so that's nice. And you can get collapsible rubber lens hoods, which are very nice. But anyway, you take your lens hood off, you put your thing right, and I'll find the picture and show it to you. But anyway.
And another tip for that is when you are forced into those scenarios where you have to get on a tour bus in the middle of the day because you have to appease the people that you're with.
Yep.
Going on that.
The awful people you're with.
Find the spots where the windows are clean.
Yep.
Oh,
So just make sure when you're getting into the bus that you do look at the spot that you do pick has clean windows.
Let's see if I can find it
Talk about
quickly.
traveling light in the travel class that at the action class that we just shot. I stress this, I think, in every segment. I had 2 lenses with me on the Black Rapid Duo strap.
Yeah.
So when I'm shooting, I want to have a camera bag. I don't want to have to put it down on the ground.
Yes.
Like we were at a horse farm. I don't want to put my bag, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, you don't want
down
it
the
down
ground.
in the,
But if I'm in the city
No.
too, if I'm in the city, I don't want to put it down, on the ground. So traveling light, like Scott said, I think really helps you get a higher percentage of good pictures because you're not fumbling around, like I was fumbling for a word, fumbling around looking for a lens.
Well, that was what Scott was saying is what I would call traveling right.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's what it comes down to
Yeah.
is like when you're going on vacation with the family, you take the right amount of equipment to get whatever shots that you need.
Yeah.
Don't take any more.
Yeah.
Because that's what we always, what if? It's
Yeah.
like, no, just take, I'm telling you take that 24 to 240 and that camera
Yeah.
and you can produce the same shots that Scott's showing you. Like that's what he uses.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, and you know what? There's always that fear that you're going to be, I would have got this award-winning shot if I'd only had that other lens. No, you wouldn't have. Look, while you're changing lenses, you're going to miss the shot anyway. Stick with what you got. Stick with one lens, and your chances of getting a great shot is actually better with one lens because you're not going to have to try to switch the lens. Now, I occasionally do take a second lens. If I know for sure I'm going to be shooting a lot of interiors. If I know that I'm going to a particular place and I want to shoot this cathedral or this palace or whatever, and I know, I will take the lens for that one shot. Like, I'll take it for that because I want a 14. All right? What, I can go 13? I have 13.
no, you have
it's
14.
It's 14
to
35.
24.
I have to ask Erik, what
14.
do I own?
14 to 35.
14?
It's an F4.
It's the F4 14 to 35 Canon lens. So if I go on vacation or to a workshop, I will have both of those. Now, I can tell you for New York City, there'll be some couple of indoor places.
Yeah, definitely
I'll be
14.
taking my 14.
Because you need that 14.
You need that 14 for the epicness that we're going to create. However, there is most of the time, and I took this to China. Rick and I did a workshop in China, and I took this with him. And Rick and I have an interesting one we're talking about for next year. I can't tell you what it is. It's secret.
It's a secret.
We're talking about an interesting one for next year.
If you like photographing the color blue, I
Yes.
think this
Blue.
this might be the workshop for you. Blue
You're-
for you.
And you're thinking Santorini because of the blue roofs. It's not. All right. Hey, we do have to take a break. We got all kinds of questions
Yeah, we
coming
got
in.
tons of questions
All
coming
kinds
in.
of
Yeah,
stuff. People are entering the contest because we got lots of great stuff to give away. We'll see you on the other side. Don't go away. When we come back, more travel photography tips.
Hey folks, Kirk Nelson here from the Pixel Pro. I am back at Kelby One Studios with a fantastic course. This is a collection of some of the best quick and easy Photoshop tricks that you can find. I'm talking about really cool tricks that you can do in less than 10 minutes each. We're doing some neon text. We're doing some glowing matrix style raining binary numbers. We are doing this really cool photo sketch effect you really just got to see to believe. We're digging into some of the newer features in Photoshop like the neural filters or abusing the camera raw filter, how it's probably not supposed to be. We're having a ton of fun. We're doing a lot of cool effects. They're really easy and you can do it too. Join me here at kelby1.com.
There are so many genres of photography where you're locked out of getting the good shots. Like you can't get close and you can't get into that special area. The pros can get there, they have special access and stuff. But you know what the great equalizer is? Air shows. Air shows are exploding for photographers. They love it because you can get right down in front. You got the same access. You can come back with shots that will absolutely blow everybody away. That's what I love about shooting air shows.
Yeah, in this class, what we're going to do is we're going to break down all that stuff that you need to know to shoot your first air show, like the settings, how to program your camera, what lenses, what bodies you need. And then we're going to get to the important stuff like composition and framing, where we're going to break down all that for you so you can be a master the first time you go out and shoot your show.
We're going to show you how to shoot jets, how to shoot props, how to shoot the statics. When you come back, your shots are going to look like a pro's. So come and check out our brand new class exclusively at Kelby One.
This segment of The Grid is brought to you by B&H Photo, the professional source since 1973.
Hey, we are back. Scott Kelby here with Rick Sammon, our special in-studio guest, and Mr. Kuna. And you know what it's time for? Probably time for a little Lightroom tip. All right. I got a cool Lightroom tip for you today. So every show now we do a Lightroom tip, we do a Photoshop tip, and we do photography trivia for a prize. Yeah, we do. All right, let's take a look on screen. We got our Lightroom tip. So this is, we call this Kuna Island, as all things are named after Erik. Once you leave our city, everything's named after Erik. So we're here at Kuna Island. Now, so you can see that I exposed for the foreground, right? And it's still a little, I mean, you still probably need to go in here and adjust the shadows a bit, and I'm not crazy about that. There we go. All right. So, but anyway, long story short, our sky is blown out. Our sky is lame, but this is typical. This is why they make ND grad filters, right? So you can expose for your foreground, and then when your sky's all blown out, you darken the sky. Well, that key phrase there, darkening the sky, is what I think of when I want to make my sky look better. So let's go ahead and do that. We're going to click on the masking icon up here in the right corner, and you're simply going to choose sky. Just click on sky, and that red tint shows you this is what has been selected for you. So remember what I said, darkening the sky is the secret. So if we go in here and just take the exposure and drag it to the right, we can make our shot a lot more balanced. However, there's something funky that happens when you do this. If there are clouds in the sky, your clouds aren't nice and white anymore. They're kind of all kinds of gray, and they're looking a little ominous, and it wasn't that way. It was a bright, beautiful sunny day, and it actually makes that sky maybe not look like what was there, like you did a sky replacement or something. So here's what the trick is. You're going to go, once you create your sky, right, you lower your exposure, you're going to go to the word subtract. So I want to take something out of that mask that I just made. I made a mask of the sky, but I want to remove something. What do I want to remove? I want to remove the clouds. I don't want the clouds to be affected. I just want the blue parts of the sky. So you hit subtract, and it brings up a list of things that you could potentially choose. We're going to go down to luminance range. Luminance range allows you to select parts of the mask to remove. Now I hit subtract. I could add stuff to it, but I want to take something out of the mask. I want to take the clouds out. So I'm going to go to the luminance. Luminance lets you select by brightness. So all you do is it's going to give you an eyedropper tool, a big old one, and I'm going to click and drag out a little area. So this is the area I want to remove from my mask. And look at that. Now, we're not done, but that already basically took it out. Now, what I'll do here before I make any more adjustments is I will lower the exposure a little more, and then this next trick is a big one. Go down and add blues. Go to the temperature, the white balance, and add blues into your sky. Excuse me, I need to take a drink of water.
I would say Kuna Island never looked so good.
It's Kuna Island's resplendent today.
Right.
Now, excuse me, the sky's a little bright over there, and you can go in here. The two little sliders at the bottom control the amount of feather, the softening, and this little baby up here controls the range. So if you want to pull back the range, so there you go. So it's not quite so bright, and you could even go back to the back here and pull the highlights back a little. But let's take a look just with those little simple changes. Here's a before and after. All we did was select the sky, and then when the clouds looked gray, we used the range mask to remove the clouds from the mask. And then I did a trick that I do very often, which is to sneak some blue into that sky to make it even bluer. I would say that maybe because of the aqua color of the water, you might actually go back to that mask and add a little green in too. I in this case, I added nothing but blue, but you might add just a hair of green so it's not so, there you go. It looks a little
You could select also the water and maybe adjust it that way too.
Yeah, if you wanted to make the water bluer, but usually the aqua color is so,
So pronounced, yeah.
It's all right, so that is our Lightroom tip of the day. I also have an announcement to make. Ladies and gentlemen, Kathy Porufsky is in the building.
Yeah.
Yes, Kathy's in.
Kathy Porufsky is actually the queen of our entire area. So it's nice to have her here. I saw her briefly as I was walking to the set, but where is Kathy?
She's over
There
here.
she is.
Yeah.
Kathy's right
Kathy
there.
was invaluable in the filming of my action class.
Kathy is invaluable in the filming of all classes,
Yeah.
whether she's actually on the set or not.
She's amazing.
She is.
And she's fun.
She's super fun.
It's a good combo.
And she's a very good photographer.
No kidding.
Oh,
There's-
look at
uh-oh.
there she is.
Roaming cam, roaming cam.
All right, there she is. Kathy, go Kathy.
Roaming cam. Roaming.
So,
All right.
There's another question here from Philip. Philip asking, do you recommend shooting just RAW plus JPEG, just JPEG in your travel photos?
Wow, this is a really good question. So I'm going to tell you, I shoot just RAW. Excuse me. I shoot just raw. You can always make a JPEG. So unless you're on a deadline as a journalist and you need to upload JPEGs real quick, but I would say this, whether you shoot in RAW or JPEG is based on how you feel about post-processing. Like crying here.
But that's it. You're
just too
summing
much
it
fun.
up. You're crying so much because you're summing it up. It's like,
Yeah.
this is
JPEG
how you feel.
photos, this is important. JPEG photos look much better coming out of the camera. Much better than RAW photos. JPEG photos have been sharpened. They've had contrast added. They've had color added. They've had noise reduction added. They've had sharpening added. They've added all kinds of things. That's Dobson. Hi, Dobson.
Uh-oh.
So sorry, I'm distracted today.
It's distracted.
So it adds all these things. It adds sharpening. It adds color. It adds all these wonderful, joyous, great things. When you switch your camera to shoot in RAW, you're literally telling your camera, don't sharpen it.
Yep.
Don't boost the color. Don't make it look better. Don't do noise reduction. Don't do anything. Just give me the raw shot, just what the camera said. And I will go into Photoshop or Lightroom and I'll add all that stuff.
I'll cook it.
I'll process it. I'll cook it. I'll bake it. Now, so you have to ask yourself this question. If you love post-processing like I do, like Rick does, like Erik does, I love to have that control. But if you just go, I want my photos to look better coming right out of the camera, shooting JPEG.
Yeah.
Some of the greatest photos, some of the most award-winning photos, magazine covers, everything, shot in JPEG.
Sure.
There was a time where RAW didn't exist and people still made good photos. What? That's
Shot
crazy.
in JPEG, shot in film, shot in whatever.
Yep, all that stuff.
And then other ones were shot in film and post-processed to death in the darkroom.
So Joe McNally did the first digital cover of National Geographic. First one shot with a digital camera that made the cover. I believe it was 6 megapixels.
probably
It was a
something.
noisy
that was
6
probably,
megs. A phenomenal shot, of course, because it's Joe. But anyway, yeah. So it really comes down to they both have pluses and minuses. RAW has a wider tonal range. RAW is more forgiving if you made a mistake, especially with your white balance. It's just, but JPEG looks better. The files are smaller. Your cards, I mean, there's just, they both have advantages. What I generally tell people is if you like the post-processing, go ahead and do RAW. If you're going to be processing every photo anyway, go ahead and do RAW because there's advantages. But what do you say, Rick?
Well, this is what I'd say. Thanks for asking. I would say this. I
Caught
agree
you
with
off
you.
guard there.
But I have a question for you. Do you shoot RAW to both cards, which is what I do, if you have a 2-card camera?
No, I use RAW and then I write to the second card.
Okay, so I'm shooting RAW, but here's something important to think about with RAW. My camera shoots 30 frames per second, right? But if you shoot uncompressed RAW files, you're not going to get that maximum frame rate. So just keep that in mind. Now, you know, we're shooting the birds, we're photographing the birds at the beach. It's still more.
Did you say the birds and the bees?
Birds and the beach. I might have said it.
Birds and the bees. I'm like,
Ooh,
Rick,
we can
what
do
are
that
you shooting,
too,
bro?
yeah, I guess.
Let's play
What
this
kind
back.
of stuff are you?
got weird.
Let's play this back. I might have said that, but anyway, if you want that maximum frame rate, if you just remember, if you shoot the uncompressed, so if you're photographing like birds or Super Bowl photography, if he needs all those subtle, he or she needs those subtle differences. Just something to remember. But I'm a RAW guy. RAW rules as far as I'm concerned. Actually, when I did my first class here. 15 years ago, I had a T-shirt on. It said "Raw Rules."
I remember that.
You remember the
I
shirt?
was there.
You were there.
Yeah,
I remember.
but I totally get what you're saying. Like, if you are in those moments now, with those C-Fast cars you were talking about, stuff like that, you can get to the point where that's out the window.
Yeah.
You don't even need it anymore. So, very cool. Well, let's see what else we got. Tony's asking, how do I get my cloud pictures into Photoshop sky replacement?
I can share that.
And, yeah, absolutely, they make a difference. And it's super easy. Scott will show you real quick. It's just going to the file.
Can I do it
loading
once
in.
we get to the Photoshop tip?
Sure. We'll do that at the Photoshop tip because it's super easy, and I totally agree with you. If it makes a difference in your aviation photos. Now, one thing I'd say with aviation photos when you're doing sky replacements, try to start shooting your skies at the same focal length.
Yeah, that's a good.
This is a very. In fact, this last December when we were doing our giveaways, one of the Kelby One giveaways was I put together a preset pack it was a pack of clouds for telephoto for things like aviation, birds, where it's things where I've captured
Aviation birds, birds and the bees.
Yeah.
But
Birds
now-
and the bees or anything where you've captured something at
Yeah.
400, 500, 600 millimeters.
That's good.
So you have that same compression, then it's a little out of focus.
I
and all
like that.
So, yep.
I'm
All
looking
right.
for a photo
He's
to
looking
answer
for a
his
photo.
question here.
So while we're talking about that, Keith's asking another question is, will the iPhone conference also include guidance on how to capture video? I have an iPhone 13 Pro Max, but don't take advantage of video. Absolutely. That was one of the things that we added to the curriculum. We actually have a whole class, Jefferson is teaching just on video for the iPhone. He's done numerous podcast recording, videos, stuff for all different types of people
He's
with
very
the video
good.
on the
He's very good.
iPhone. And then also, Hilmar's going to do some stuff on how to use video. But, so we have tons of stuff on video as well.
All right, I'm
All
looking.
right.
I'm
He's still looking. All
Answer
right,
more
so what
questions.
else we got here? Let's see. Hey, you know what? We have to take a break. They're telling me I have to take a break.
Break?
So that's going to
No,
buy
already?
Scott a little bit more
What?
time to find this photo. But when we return, we'll hopefully have that tip. We'll have a Photoshop tip as well. And
Yep.
We'll see you back
Yep.
here.
I'm just
in
testing
a
my
little while.
Photoshop tip here.
Rick Sammon, Canon Explorer of Light, Kelby One instructor, author of 38 books. We're in Costa Rica on the Osa Peninsula, that National Geographic called the most biologically intense place on the planet. So I've explored the East Coast and the West Coast here, but the West Coast, the Osa Peninsula, this is totally amazing. The jungle is so thick, the rainforest is so thick, there's so many animals around. Our base camp for this trip was Crocodile Bay Resort. These guys are amazing. It's a first-class resort. Try to meet Bryce Johnson and Brian Johnson, two of the partners there. These guys are not only great photographers, they're great people. You can learn a lot from both of them. To our naturalist, Dennis Atencio Valverde. He's an amazing guy. He's also a great photographer. You're going to learn about exposure. You're going to learn about composition. But what I really like about doing this class was how we weave in the importance of the conservation efforts of everyone that we've met here. It's awesome. Two more highlights of the trip were going to these ecological centers. One was the Osa Interactive Gardens, where we got some great pictures of some butterflies, and the other one was Latarde, where we got some amazing, really close-up pictures of the poison dart frog. So please check out my latest class on Kelby One, Uncovering the Magic of the Rainforest. I'm Rick Sammon. I'll catch you later.
Let me ask you a question. Where's the best place to do your post-processing for the travel images that you shot on your phone? I'm telling you where it's at. It's poolside. That's the thing. You're still on vacation. You're enjoying yourself. You're having a great time. And you're like, I'm going to take a few hours off. I'm going to chill out by the pool, and I'm going to edit my photos. And that's what we're going to do in part 2 of my class on shooting your travel photography with an iPhone. So in part 1, we took the shots. In part 2, we're going to bring them into Lightroom. Actually, they're already in Lightroom, but I'll tell you how to do all that automatically. And then we're going to go through the whole post-processing steps right on your phone or right on your tablet, whichever one you're using Lightroom. It's going to rock. Everything's going to be synced back and ready to go. When you get home, all your images are there. They're done. You're having a great time. And it all happens in real time because you're by the pool editing your images in Lightroom. I hope you'll check out part 2 of my class on using the iPhone for your travel photography.
Hey guys, I'm Tuvi and I'm going to show you 2 really cool products that we at VFlat World sell. So the first one is our Duo boards, which are double-sided hyper-realistic backdrops for food and product photographers. They come in 2 sizes. This is the larger side. We have all different types of textures and designs. These are some of the new ones that came out recently. And they also, there's a bag option available for them. And our other product, which is what we actually started the company with, it's called a V-Flat. It's a foldable V-Flat, and it's used for portrait and studio photographers to control light on their subjects, to either add light with the white side or use the black side to subtract light, or even block like an unwanted window light coming in.
See you later.
This segment of The Grid is brought to you by Canon.
Wow,
That's
it's like
cool.
an unsteady cam.
That is
Unsteady
so
cam.
cool.
It's like we all look orange. This is nice.
I love it. We have tans.
It is. It's very nice. Okay. Well, hi everybody. Welcome. So we're back. I've got you know what I got? I got a Photoshop tip.
Throw us all off.
I'll say that again. All right, before we get to the tip, I found the photo. I said that I shot through the window.
Yes, through
Of
the
the-
window shot.
Right, there it is. And we will use this in a tip in just a minute. But anyway, all right, so here's my tip. We were in Photoshop. So we have this photo, all right, and you're like, okay, I would really like to, I wish I had gotten there on a day where it wasn't so blue. I wish it was, more sunsetty looking. This looks like dawn, right?
Yeah.
So I want a more sunsetty looking shot. So you want something that has color tones more like sunset.
Okay.
It's not the greatest picture, but anyway, that's what you're looking for. So if you go under the image menu, under adjustments, there is a feature called match color. Let's take a look at that. Match color.
I wonder if it matches colors.
And what it does is it matches colors. Wow, you just took my whole
Good
thing
joke.
away there. Wow. All right, here's how it works. You bring in you just open it up and it says, okay, the key part is this word source. What are we using to match color? Like what photo do we match the color from? So you just go and choose, that one's called Sunset Factory. You choose it and it brings that color into your current photo. Now, it rarely is a perfect match, but there are two sliders that help. One is called luminance, which is the brightness of the color, and the other is color intensity. Is the color too much or do you need more? But between those two sliders, you can usually come up with a pretty decent looking shift. And here's the preview. So it was very, very blue. Now it's sunsetty. So you got to tweak these to find out, where it looks right. That looks, it was a little too much over here. Don't look on that screen. Look on that screen. Yeah, there we go. Yeah. Yeah, our screen in the studio is like overly vibrant, right? And I'm looking at my laptop, which is much more correct. But anyway, so that is a little known feature called match color. All right. Now we're going to answer a Photoshop question that someone had just a moment
earlier
ago
about how to load
All
in
right.
your file.
All right.
Yeah.
So take a look at this image, and they asked about
Like
sky
their own
replacement.
sky replacements. Like
Right.
loading in their
Okay,
own.
first off, that I've already done a sky replacement here. It's already done. That is the replaced sky. Here is the original. Replaced. All right, so let me just throw that one away. All right, here's how it works. You go under the edit menu and you just choose sky replacement. And whatever sky you chose last, it throws in there. And it blends the edges. Here's what's interesting about sky replacement for those of you who have not used it. Not only does it blend the edges where the horizon line meets, but it also puts a color over the foreground to help help you match the sky. Because how the sky looks does affect your foreground, so it spills over onto there, and you can control that and stuff. And if you'll notice, there is a foreground adjustment area in here where you can decide, how much do you want to light the foreground and all this. However, that doesn't answer your question. Your answer is, how do I get my skies in there? You click on the little downward arrow and it brings up a menu, and at the bottom is a plus sign. It's right at the very bottom. That little plus sign is how you add your own. So now what's nice is after they introduced this, you used to have to upload one sky at a time, and now you can choose 50 skies. And then once your 50 skies are in there, you can add a folder and drag them into that folder to organize them. So you could say, like Eric was talking about and Rick was mentioning, how important it is that you shoot the skies at the same, if you want it to look really right on the money.
Similar.
Right, so if you're shooting a bunch of wide angle shots, you don't want to put on a telephoto sky, right? If you're shooting at 24, you'd like a wide angle. It could be a 35. That's not.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be like exact.
But you want a wide angle sky. So you could make a folder called wide angle, a folder called telephoto, a photo called air show. So I shot this at 600. It's not just 200, it's 600. So anyway, that's how you add your own. And then once they're in there, then you can go through here and just choose, pop in new skies just with a click. Take a look on screen.
Yeah.
Nice.
You can just, that's a pretty good sky right
That's
there.
actually
Actually.
a really nice sky for
That's
that.
pretty good right there. It's
That's
ma-
the winner.
Now
Well,
it's
I
I mean,
like
it
the
looks real how those
the sh-
beam, like,
yeah. And the shadows.
all right. You know what I don't like though? Let me.
No,
let me-
the light's coming the wrong way, though,
well, oh wait.
technically.
Oh well, crud. I wish I'd. Well, here. Let me get rid of that. So Eric pointed out that the light's not coming the right way.
Technically.
Here's what you can do. There is a button in here to flip it.
Yep.
So let it go and then flip it. Better?
It's better.
It's better. All right, then here's what I don't like about this. Let's go ahead and flatten this image, all right? I don't like this. I don't like having two. An odd number is better. So I'm just going to use that thing. It didn't do a phenomenal job right there on the edge, but I have a tool
you
that will
can
clean
fix
it up.
that, But look at that. Holy moly.
I'm going to clean it up
Print that.
with this little thing right here.
You know, I think
Just
one of your
bring
tips,
that
correct me if
across.
I'm wrong, Scott, but one of your tips is if you're driving down the road and you see a lone tree, jump out of the car and take the picture.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you're wrong.
Are you the
you're
one who-
wrong. You're wrong.
No,
Rick.
you're not.
No, that's, that
I
is-
think I saw
no,
a picture
no.
of you in that
That's
you
a-
took
that's
in
a
the
rule.
No, that's a rule. If it's
Zion?
it's a single lone tree.
You don't understand when we're driving how long it takes when we're on the trip.
because you see a lot of
and
trees.
you
Yeah.
see like a lone tree, and we're like, "Can we get that just in a frame?"
Can we get just that? Now I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna go take a look on screen.
Oh, he's taking it up a
I
notch.
duplicated the layer,
Yeah.
and then I'm gonna switch to one of my favorite to multiply
Oh
mode,
yeah.
just to add some drama. Now it's too much because this has gone to almost black, so I'm just gonna
Pull it
lower
back.
the opacity a little bit and dial in a more interesting
Nice.
photo. I think something more like that. So here's
Mm-hmm.
before. And there's after. I think it's a little, well, it depends. If you look on my laptop, it looks good. If you look on the screen in the studio, it looks too dark. So I'll just lower it a little bit more. All
And
right.
I love those shadows. You know, Frank Dorhoff.
I do know Frank. I love Frank.
I love him. Everybody loves him. Who doesn't love him? But
doesn't love Frank
he has an
Dorhoff?
expression that he uses in his portraits. He says, shadows are the soul of the picture. Right? And I think the shadows add so much depth and dimension to that image. So let's thank Frank let's have a shout out to Frank.
Shout out to Frankie.
for showing us.
Frankie. All right.
All right.
All right. Other travel tips. I got another one.
Hmm?
So I have a lot of people who have a lot of angst about traveling on planes with their camera gear. And I do not blame you because I am very, very concerned that you get on the plane and they're like, I'm sorry, the overhead bins are full. We're going to have to check your bag. Oh, that's the worst thing.
The worst.
The worst thing you could possibly hear. So how do you get around that? You need to get whatever the highest status on that airline is. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. No, you know what will make
It's not a
difference?
bad. It's not a bad path. I mean, definitely
Oh
it'll
yeah.
work.
If you're like
That's a good tip.
For 10 years, I've been a diamond medallion on Delta, and I dropped to platinum this year. When you're platinum, they spit on you. But anyway, when you're diamond, they will go through. I've had.
I'm lucky when I'm
numerous-
silver.
I've had numerous. I have silver for life because once you hit $1 million, you get silver for life. I'm just about gold, 2 million. But anyway, long story short, they would take my bag and they would put it where they stow like coats and stuff.
Yeah.
Like they would put it up there. I'd say, this is camera equipment. They're like, oh, no problem. You're a diamond? Right this way. Are you a platinum? I'm sorry, we're full. Silver? You're not even allowed on the plane. Anyway, here's my tip though. A soft-sided bag. If you get a soft-sided bag, because one of the big concerns with camera gear is you get on a small plane, like you book your flights, you're going from here to there, and then you don't realize that the last leg is on an Embraer and it's a small plane and you can't fit. If you have a soft-sided bag, you'll be able to stuff that in any overhead or under your seat. But if
That's the key. It still can go under your seat.
Still go under your
If you
seat.
can get that's my my thing would be like, I got a backpack now that think tank. It can fit under any
I have
airline
that
seat. Even though I'm going to be uncomfortable as heck
right.
for the
I'd
time,
rather be
my
uncomfortable.
camera gear is going to be right there.
Yeah, you do not want to give up your camera gear and let them put it in the down where the luggage is. I don't know what it's called. The luggage place. The luggage place at Sears. No, you don't want to put it down there. So anyway, that is quite a big one. It's like you want to make sure that your gear. And by the way, don't worry about what's a soft-sided bag is not that it won't protect my gear. Guys, every backpack is soft-sided. All backpacks. You don't have any hard plastic backpacks, And also, they make varying ones that are very soft or medium, but they're all padded on the inside. You're going to be fine. You know why it's going to be fine? Because it's not going in the hole. You're going to have them with you wherever you go. So
Yeah,
that's
anything
a big
that's
one.
going to happen to it when it's with you, anything that's going to happen to it is far less than what's going to happen if you let it leave your site.
I have another camera bag tip. Are you ready for this one?
Yep.
When you're packing, take your smallest backpack.
Yep.
Do you know why? Because if you pop on your table a big medium backpack, you will fill it. If you put a large backpack, you will fill it. If you put a small one, you will fill it, but you'll carry. Oh, Eric used to carry so much in his backpack. The nice thing is I don't care what I needed. Eric, I need a defibrillator. He had it. Whatever you needed, it was in Eric's pack. Eric, I need a water cooler. I mean, he had whatever you needed. It was in that pack. He still carries an amazing amount of stuff, but his backpack has gotten much
everybody
smaller.
around me is having heart problems.
I have a backpack
defibrillator, water cooler, we're dehydrated.
I have a backpack tip.
Do you?
Yeah.
Oh, let's go.
When you're online, wear your backpack on your back. Because I see people with like their laptop bags, right? And they put their big camera bag, their backpack on top of that. So you're going up and the agent looks at it and says, oh, this person has like all this stuff. So if you wear your backpack on your back and you have your little roller there, it doesn't look like you have that much stuff.
That's a great tip. I use that same tip because I start to push the lines too.
Yeah,
sometimes
I push it all the time.
Like you're like commercial shoots, where you're like, you got a lot of gear, you're trying to push it. But you're traveling, I agree with you, like go as light as possible.
Oh yeah.
I actually have the very best travel tip relating to this. Have Susan Sammon travel with you because she carries like heavy lenses, so we always travel together. And she's amazing, and she never complains. She always asks actually before the trip, "What can I carry for you?"
That's very nice.
It's very nice.
So to follow up on this question, because I think it could lead it, Gord Smith is he's asking around this topic, like smaller bodies, he has smaller bodies, lighter lenses, carbon fiber, etc. Best recommendations. So basically, I think saying so where would you, if you had to cut weight? Maybe that's the question I'm going to ask here. If you had to cut weight,
I just did it.
Where would you cut weight?
I just did it. My body's already pretty small. This is my body. This is not a big body. This is an R6. I didn't put a battery grip and all that stuff on it. So it's a very small, very lightweight mirrorless camera. It's very small. I've already got my lens down as small as I'm going to get for the lens that will do the job. But the thing that I had that I could make smaller was the tripod. So for Christmas, my brother said, I want to get you something nice. I'm like, I've been waiting for you to say that my whole life. And I got the Peak Design.
Yes.
It is the smallest lightest travel tripod with a built-in ball head you have ever seen. It is so small and so lightweight, and it's really, that's the one that I cut. I can't go any lighter on my camera, but I mean, you physically could. You could get the Canon R. What's the new one? 8? What's the
R8? Yeah.
You could physically go a little smaller, but you're giving up stuff that I'm not willing to give up.
Well, and then you're talking 6 ounces. You're
not going to be like, it's 4 pounds lighter.
The lenses is where you do. I mean, to get comparable, like you jump up to like on Canon side, you jump up the L series lenses, or you start jumping up on the Sony side.
Yep.
Yeah. The lenses, when you get the more expensive lenses, you gain a lot of weight.
A lot of weight.
Now, you do get a little bit more quality, but perceivable. How much is that for the weight?
Yeah.
Probably not.
Not worth it. All right, I have a couple of others. I grabbed these out of my camera bag. So this is a Think Tank battery holder wallet. They make it in 2 and they make it in 4. And inside it is where you keep your extra batteries. So before a trip, I charge them all. I put them in here. Now, you will notice that I have one battery here that is backwards. Why is this battery backwards? Because it was made wrong at the factory. No. The reason it's backwards is that's my way of telling me that battery is dead. When I take a battery out of my camera and I know that it's depleted, I put it in backwards. So if I look in here, and like for example, this one is forward, I know it's fully charged. This one's forward, it's fully charged. The one that's backward, I know is depleted. There's nothing worse than grabbing a battery for the day, heading out and finding you put it in, it's like 0% charge. You're like, I've done it.
You know, that's a good tip. I do the same thing with my memory card wallet.
Same thing with memory cards, exactly. Now, I'm going to take it one step further. I have the camera strap that I love more than any strap I've loved in my entire life. I don't want to take credit for it. A guy came to my photo walk one year. I think it was the first or second year I ever did my photo walk, 13 years ago, 14 years ago. I think it's 14 years now, where I did my worldwide photo walk. This guy had it. I'd never seen it before. It is this strap right here. It's from a company called Black Rapid, and this is their classic strap. This is their classic strap. So this strap was the first one they made. It made them a hero, and then they got fancy, and now they have all kinds of straps. But they went back and made this one. It's called the Classic. It's very lightweight, but it has a secret, and this is the secret I love. Right up at the top corner, right where it goes over your shoulder. Oh, by the way, this goes across your body, which is what's so great about it. So it goes across your body this way, and your camera hangs right there. So someone can't just run by and steal it off your shoulder, because getting your camera stolen is a very serious concern. But right up here on the strap, there is a pocket. And what's the pocket for? An extra battery, or you can keep a small vial of cocaine in there. And they will never check for this at customs because no one realizes it's there.
And I believe Scott that one time we were going through Germany, but
it has a special lining that the dogs that sniff drugs cannot smell. It smells like pepperoni to you, though. It's very weird. Anyway, but it
you
has
can also fit a memory card in there as well.
Oh yeah, you could put a memory card. You could almost fit 2 batteries. Yeah, you could put 2 batteries in here. So anyway, I just put 1 in there. But that way, when I'm out for the day, and this is big. So where's my camera bag when I'm out on vacation? It is in my hotel room. It is locked in the safe, or anything in that bag is in the safe. The reason why is, so picture this. I have this strap over my shoulder, over my head. I have my camera attached to it with this one lens. In my back pocket is a lens cloth. I already have extra battery with me. Why am I carrying a camera bag at all? I don't carry a camera bag at all. When you have a camera bag, your job all day long is to protect it. Also, as Mr. Kuna will tell you, I'm very famous for leaving things behind. And Erik, I thought of you when I was in New York. I went and I did my presentation on the main stage, and then when you're done with the main stage, you go for a half an hour and answer questions at this desk. I'm sitting at the desk when I realized I left my entire backpack back in the other room. I went back and it was there. It was still there.
But you had that panic for a
I
second.
had that panic. I did have that panic. Because like my power cable was in there and all kinds of other goodies and stuff, and my stash. And my medicinal products.
His camera strap with the little container in it.
Camera strap with a small container in it. You don't want dogs sniffing because it smells like pepperoni.
What are those sirens outside?
What are those sirens? Hey, speaking of that, I'm driving here. I'm running a little late to the grid. I'm driving here and we get to a light. And normally I'm just a very safe driver. And I was like, crap, I'm late for the grid. And I zip through the light.
Yeah.
And I look in my rearview mirror and there is a Dodge truck with so many police lights going off on it. And I'm like, oh, come on. Oh, nuts. And it is just, and it zooms right up on me.
You're lucky.
Gets right on me. And goes against the guy in front of me. So it was a speed trap, and he already caught that guy. So he goes, I'm going after that guy. And I thought, oh, that's it. Because I never run a red light. Here I ran. I did catch the edge of it red. Yeah. I thought, that's it. And you know what I was going to do? I was going to give them, I have a copy of Erik's license. So what I do is I give them Erik's license and I give them a 20. Works every time. Just put maybe a 20 or a 50.
The only thing that's helping me now is we have this on tape.
What? What?
We have this on tape.
Okay, just note to the control room. This episode has to be destroyed immediately. The end of this. Don't post it on YouTube.
We do have to take a break.
A break.
When we come back, we have a bunch of questions to go through.
Oh,
we got to give away prizes.
We don't have much time.
We're already 3 minutes and 30 seconds over, but we've got Rick Sammon in, so let's
Mine.
do it.
I'll take the blame. Hey everyone, Rick Sammon here. I really hope you can join me for my latest Kelby 1 class, Uncovering the Magic of the Golden Hours. Get your best pictures in the best light of the day. Now in this class I will of course cover photographing during the golden hours, which are basically the hours, more or less, after sunrise and before sunset. However, this class goes way beyond just photographing during those times. I'll also cover photographing during the blue hours, which are basically the hours before sunrise and after sunset. But there's more. I'll also share with you my top tips for photographing at sunrise and at sunset, which actually can be kind of tricky when shooting into the sun due to the high contrast range in the scene. and I'll cover image processing, which can save the day when you can't get it right in camera, plus it's a ton of fun. So my friends, I really hope you can join me for my latest class, Uncovering the Magic of the Golden Hours, only on KelbyOne.com.
This segment of The Grid is brought to you by Platypod, the world's most compact tripod base.
Hello and welcome back. You know, when we come back from the breaks, we like to do it. Well, we did a Photoshop tip, we did a Lightroom tip. How about we do a trivia question with a prize? Trivia question. Mr. K, what is our photo? First, what's the prize? Are we giving away a copy of a book or something?
Yeah, we're giving away a copy of your travel photography book.
There you go.
And all right, today's question is for all of us old timers out there that used to use DSLRs. What does DSLR stand for?
I know.
I know you know. Don't say it.
I'm not.
It stands for don't slow, don't slog, don't delicious sandwich.
Christina's
lingers.
monitoring the comments. If the first person to answer it right, she's going to grab it and you're going to win the prize. While we're waiting for somebody to win, we got a bunch of questions coming in.
Hit them.
So here we go. Chuck is asking, going to Rocky Mountain National Park in March, any tips? So this would be Rocky Mountain National Park?
Well, I haven't been there, but I would say my first thing would be to wear good shoes, like hiking boots. I was in a national park, and you remember a year and a half ago, I broke my ankle because I had the wrong shoes on. So definitely wear hiking boots. That would be my number one tip. And then
Eric,
maybe
have you
travel
been there?
light.
I have not either, so.
I haven't been to Rocky Mountain National Park either.
So yeah, we can't give a lot of tips. I would think the best thing is being prepared for the
Yep.
weather that you're going to be
Yep.
dealing with in March in Colorado,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, go on Google and do or 500 pics.
Yeah.
Right?
You can see photos in that area at that time.
At that time, that's
the key.
super important.
Hey, while we're talking about this, can I mention my workshop?
Sure.
So I am doing a workshop in Kanab, Utah on March 3rd through 5th, so not very long away from now. And guess what? You want to hear something wild? I get a call yesterday from Vanelli. And he goes, hey, are you going to this thing in Utah? I said, yeah, the Outsiders Conference. Yeah. He goes, I'm going too. How are you getting there? I go, well, I'm flying into Vegas and I'm driving 3 hours.
Uh-oh.
Guess who's riding with me? Yeah, that's right.
All right.
I
3
knew that
hours-
was coming.
3 hours with Vanelli.
It's a treat for both of you.
It is a treat.
We
Well, I
need to
love Vanelli.
record that drive and just
Dude, that should be
broadcast
its
it.
own podcast.
That could be a
Just
podcast in itself.
Vanelli telling you stories. It's awesome. All right. So anyway, if you want to come, go to outsidersphoto.com. It's the Outsiders Photography Conference. There's all kinds of great photographers that are taking part in it. Great instructor corps, and it is coming up very, very soon. And we're going to be shooting. See that night sky, Eric? Oh yeah.
Nice.
See that rock formation?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. See
I love
those?
that area. That's
Yep.
our
Kanab.
stomping grounds. Yeah.
Kanab.
There's some good food there.
Or is it just Nab? No, it's Kanab. They say Kanab,
Yeah.
don't they?
They say Kanab.
Anyway, that's where it's going to be. Are those? What were that? What did we just see? That was. I shot not there. Come on, what's the name?
Bryce Canyon?
Bryce Canyon.
That's Bryce Canyon,
Yep.
yeah.
The hoodoos. They're called hoodoos, right?
Yes.
Hoodoos.
And Bryce Canyon's only about an hour and so away from Kanab.
There you go.
So
Do they have good burgers in Kanab?
they do.
They have the best bison burgers.
We've been to great burgers. in
Bison
Kanab.
burgers.
How
Scott.
far are we? We're far from Milts, though.
Milts is in Moab. That is the best, but
But we're, like,
that's
far
that's
from
far.
Moab,
That's a little far for a burger. A little
Is it?
far.
Yeah. Is it though?
It
All right,
has. It's not out
questions.
of the. It's not out of the realm of possibility.
More questions. Here we go.
All right.
I think
so
someone
let's
got
see.
the answer, no?
Oh yeah, somebody did get the
Yeah,
answer.
yeah,
We'll
someone
get
got
to them in just a second when we get to the prizes. But yeah. So we have Sharon B. You won. The answer to the question is digital single lens reflex. Right.
Congratulations, Sharon.
you
So
go.
I have a question.
Yes.
How many lenses does a single lens reflex take? About.
How many lenses?
Yeah, like how many
I mean,
lenses?
the amount of lenses
Yeah.
in there.
Dozens, right?
Well, yeah.
Do you
I guess
know
it
the answer,
varies.
or are we just winging this?
No, well,
varies.
it's called a single lens reflex, but it doesn't take a single lens. It takes many, many lenses.
What's that
So
number?
why is it called a single lens?
This is a good one. Tell us.
Because the first cameras for consumers were twin lens reflex cameras. They had two lenses, one that you look through and one that you shot through. So this is why it's called a single lens reflex.
Wow. That
See,
is-
when you get as old as I,
that's bringing
you
it
know,
out. Like,
you know,
yeah,
you know
that's
stuff like this.
ancient knowledge right there.
Ancient.
Passed along there. All right. So, question here from Craig. My family's heading to Washington, D.C. this spring. What are the current restrictions on photographers at different locations? When I was there 10, I wasn't allowed to take my tripod in the museums. Are you allowed to take it if couldn't use it? Is it still allowed? So basically, like the restrictions you might have.
Yes, Craig. Leave your tripod at home. Seriously, Craig, if you have a platypod, take that.
Yeah.
Don't take a tripod, because I can tell you,
That will get under the radar.
I was literally in a park shooting on a sidewalk, and I had Washington, D.C. police come and tell me I couldn't set up. I had to go set up in the dirt. They were fine if I moved back 6 feet and was in the dirt. But honestly, almost every place today, no one's going to let you set up tripods. I don't know what they're afraid of. They're afraid someone's going to trip over them and they're going to be liable, that you're doing commercial work, whatever it is. However, if you take a platypod, no one's going to say anything. You can set it up in all kinds of indoor places. And by the way, can I tell you something, Craig? Go to two places that are going to sound, they're way better than they sound. Number one, the National Cathedral is in Washington, D.C. It is phenomenal. It is like they took a giant mega cathedral from Paris and dropped it into D.C. Go see it. It's incredible. And the also thing is, Craig, the lobby of the Library of Congress. The lobby area of the Library of Congress is phenomenal. Now, there is a visitor gallery where you can look over the actual library itself, but you're behind plexiglass, and it's kind of but however, the lobby is stunning, absolutely stunning. And if you don't mind, now, ideally, you're either the first one there in the morning when they open the door, or among the last people to leave at the end of the day if you want tourist-free shots. So I would definitely do that, but there's a couple of tips for DC.
Can I give another one on the platypod side
Absolutely.
of it? Right, so one of the things, I mean, you part of it with the tripod, I think, is the tripping, but it's also raising attention to what you're doing, right? So even with the platypod, while I've got around it a lot, you do get more eyes on you. If you want to restrict the eyes on you, use your phone to monitor your camera's LCD. And actually just move around the platypod with like your foot if you need to like reposition it.
Oh, what do we call that, Eric?
Yeah. A little nudge?
There's a word for that.
What's it called?
I coined the phrase of doing that.
What is
And that's
this
exact.
called?
And Juan has pictures of me doing it in Venice. It's called photography.
Okay, photography.
Where you set your platypod down, you look
Yep.
through your phone, and if it's a little to the left or the right, you just
You
take
just
your
kinda
foot.
nudge it, yeah.
I have a.
Yeah, but that's a big thing
Yeah.
because I've seen people with platypods, then they get down on the ground and they're like in it and they're like that's when again the police start going, whoa.
Take a look on
What
screen.
are they doing?
What's that? What?
That's what you're doing.
Hey,
right
there he
Take a
goes.
look on my screen.
That wide angle lens, love it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's it.
That's some photography going on right there.
And you can monitor your camera right from your phone. You can get the framing, and you can just kind of move it around a little bit.
That is inside the Vatican, the church.
Wow.
And what it ends up looking
not
like,
St. Paul's, St. Peter's
is
Basilica.
it ends up looking like you're looking at a video on your
Right.
phone, or you're doing something on your phone, and your camera's just down there, and you're just kicking it.
A little photography
When you're
going
actually just
on.
monitoring it. So that's part of it, is just kind of keeping that lower profile to where you're not being like, I'm down on the floor disrupting everybody getting the shots.
Hey, I want to answer this question from Matthew. Beyond using a camera with dual card slots, what is your go-to file backup solution while trying not to take a bunch of crap with you? So Matthew, I always have my laptop with me, always, because I want to edit my shots. I want to. That's what I do at night. We get back to the room. We have dinner. We do whatever we're going to do. We buy some drugs from a guy in the street, and then I go back to my
refill
room.
those containers all the time.
And then I sell a few to pay for the trip. Anyway, it's a small amount. Nobody cares. Anyway, so I hope you guys know I'm kidding, right? About all this drug.
what about
I
the
think
peop-
it's so obvious I do not do drugs.
You know,
that
for people
I
watching
feel like,
the show for the first
Oh,
time,
God,
you know,
yeah.
what are they gonna
Yeah,
say?
you're right. We're-
yeah, I don't do drugs. Sell
You don't
drugs.
even
I've
drink.
never done. I don't do
You
anything.
don't even have
Next
a beer.
thing
I
on
with
the
you.
don't
reviews.
do anything. I don't drink. I don't do drugs. You know what I do? I shoplift. That's my thing. It's just I shoplift a lot of things.
It's obsessively.
single day, obsessively. Yeah. There's that, and of course, forgery is big for me.
Innovation. We tried interventions, and nothing
doesn't
works.
work.
Nothing works. So anyway, so here's what I do. Number one, I take my laptop. However, I also take with me, I don't have it with me, but a very, very small, very, very lightweight, is it Samsung?
SanDisk.
SanDisk. This is why I have to hit Eric and ask him.
Actually, you
'Cause
might
Eric
have
finds
the
it first.
Samsung. I have the SanDisk, but you might
No, I
have the
think
Samsung.
I don't know which one I have. It's a very small, super lightweight.
Little lightweight.
Tiny little hard drive that's 2 terabytes.
Yeah.
And every day at the end of the day, I never erase my memory card. I always take, now, I will say this. I am a Lexar Elite photographer, so I don't have to pay a lot for my memory cards. I got memory cards coming out of my ears. So anyway, I never erase a memory card while I'm on vacation. I leave them in the case, like Rick said, I turn them backwards so I know that they're used. I don't ever erase them until I am home, and I know that I've got all my backups everywhere in the cloud and everything else.
Backed
Also,
up on your other solutions, yeah.
here's the other thing. So picture this. I got the card as backup number 1. I put them on my laptop. That's backup number 2. I have them on my thing number 3. If I do final images, if I edit or something, I put those in my Dropbox. So then anything happens to my laptop or my drives or whatever, it gets confiscated by the Croatian police, then I am fine to all my finals are in the cloud. So I know that seems a little paranoid, but all I'm really taking extra that I wouldn't normally taking is that very, very lightweight, and it is super lightweight. Can you find that one? Can we show him
What's that?
on
Which one?
the 2 terabyte?
Oh, yes.
I think I want to say mine is Samsung.
It is.
Oh, there you go. Kathy Perepsky Kathy
she's there.
has verified. Yeah, that's right. That's a
This is the one I have.
okay. Well, mine
I
looks
mean,
something like that. It's not that.
It's the same. I mean, this is great. $159 for 2 terabytes.
Yeah,
And I
mine-
mean, it's super light. Super light.
yeah. All right. So
Now,
mine
you
mine
can
has
get-
to be
you
the
can-
Samsung
you-
because
you
it doesn't
can-
have a hole like that.
Yeah, this one's like super rugged is the thing. If you're looking for something that's super rugged, you have.
Rugged.
Well, we'll find it, but they're all the same. I mean, it's probably this one.
Yeah, that's what I got right there.
Yeah. It's just no, that's the internal
Well,
one.
mine's blue. It looks like that, but blue.
Like
Very
this,
small, super lightweight.
like this. It's like a little
Yeah.
thing like that.
It's so tiny you would fit in your shirt pocket and you wouldn't even know it was there, kind
Yeah.
of thing. It wouldn't fit in Rick's shirt pocket because his are
Well,
knitted.
I don't have pockets.
They are. Well, he doesn't have pockets because he couldn't afford the upcharge because
No,
they're
I couldn't.
tremendously expensive shirts to begin with. All right, next, what else do we got?
So, Stuart, Rick's asking you a question, or Rick,
yeah.
Stuart's asking you a question,
Yep.
and that is looking for some must-see photography spots along the Hudson River. Croton Dam is on my list. Any other suggestions?
Yeah, the new Croton Dam is the #1 place. You guys have to come up. Actually, in my hometown class, Jason and Dobson came. We shot a segment there. It was a ton of fun. So that's a great place. A place called Silver Lake. Silver Lake is in Croton. It's kind of hidden. Believe it or not, they used to make Tarzan movies there in the 1940s. It looks really kind of secluded, so that's cool. But I think you showed one of the pictures before, just along the Hudson River. It is so beautiful. The Hudson Valley is great. Bear Mountain is a wonderful place. It's only it's not too far away, but yeah, the hometown class that we shot there, there's so many, and the point is that you could find so many pictures in your hometown, which is why Erik came up with the title for that class, by the way. It's very creative.
Well, there is so much stuff we can find in our own hometowns, especially it helps us to practice, which is
Yeah,
one of my
absolutely.
big things. You want to get better at photography, you got to practice.
Hey, do you know
All right.
that Dobson can't go back to the state of New York?
I didn't know that. Why?
No, he's I can't really go into detail, but
It has something to do with that container and that thing,
Yeah.
and that equipment that he was carrying.
Well,
for
it was
you
so
won't
fun.
be seeing Dobson at our New York workshop, I can tell you that.
It was fun while it lasted.
He's banned. He's banned forever. Banned for life, by the way, not just.
All right, so Barbara's asking, how do you pack your gear? And then it says cross custom. So I'm going to assume, how do you pack your gear, given that you're going to cross into another country? You're going to any
Well,
different concerns you might have?
I've never had any issues ever, even going into Cuba or going
No.
into China with customs at all. I mean, they expect everyone's going to have a camera, everyone's going to have a couple of lenses, you know. Now, if you went
I
in
can
there,
tell you one country where I've had problems.
ooh, where? Canada.
Oh, yeah,
Flipping
right.
Canada. I don't know what is.
Only country.
I don't know what's with Canada, but
Gone to so many.
But I think forget about Russia and China. It's time to invade Canada, just to take down their whole customs thing, and then leave immediately. No, I love Canadians. I hate the Canadian Border Patrol. The Canadian Border Patrol are mean to me every single time I go.
I got stuck.
Every time.
I
Me
got
too.
stuck once.
Me too.
I got jailed.
I got put into a
I was there
room.
legally.
Got the
I got put in a room and they took a
three
big hose.
three
and
rounds of questions.
sprayed me. Oh, I wish it was 3 rounds of questions.
Yeah, yours was really bad.
It was bad.
Yours was really bad.
Bad. All right.
All right.
So I don't think you're gonna, Barbara. I don't think you're gonna have any problems whatsoever.
Yeah, no,
Now,
nothing.
if you take what are those Pelican case? If you take a Pelican case says I'm a commercial
It's a
photographer,
commercial shoot, yeah.
and they're
that
gonna
does
then
change.
expect they don't let a Pelican case go rolling by the customs desk.
And the other thing is if you bring equipment that's brand new, like meaning it hasn't been wrapped out of plastic and stuff.
yeah, it's in a box.
Like that looks like you're trying to take something
You're
in
gonna
there and
sell it.
avoid taxes.
or you're gonna sell it, or
you're
give
going
it
to
to
sell
somebody,
it,
yeah.
and like they just
Yeah,
big red flag.
so don't buy something from B&H the night before and just throw it in your
oh,
bag.
I'll open it up when I get there.
Nope,
Like, that'll be a
nope,
problem.
Open it up at home. All right, let's
I
see.
think that's it for what we got so far.
Yeah, well, it's good because we're 22
Yeah, we're
minutes
22
over.
minutes
thanks,
over.
thanks to Rick.
But no, we gotta give away the prizes though.
Yeah.
But you.
Listen,
give away
I'll
prizes.
take the blame. That's
Skip.
why I'm here.
That is why you're here. All right, what do we got?
So we got we're giving away the V flat is going to Tim Hawley. Then Craig Pfeiffer is got the Platypod accessory pack.
Nice.
And then George Gabb has got the Let It Shoot It Retouch It book.
Fantastic book.
Mike B is winning the On One Effects.
Love it. Use it daily.
And the travel photography book is going to Sharon B. So there we go.
We already announced that. It's a fantastic book. Fantastic.
All right.
All right, don't forget, if you want to go with Erik and me to New York City.
New York City.
We're doing a travel photography workshop up there May 3rd through 6th.
Love
So
it.
Come and join us. It's going to be a blast. People are already signing up for it. There are a few spots left. If you want to grab them, they will be available on Friday.
Or get on that mailing list.
Friday, or just go get on the mailing list. Yeah, there we go. There we go. All right. Well, Rick, where can people go learn more about you and the wild, wild world of Rick Sammon?
Kelby1.com.
There you go.
I think I have 41 classes.
Oh, my gosh.
Considering all the live classes. So I've been coming down here for 15 years. So that's one place. Also my website, ricksammon.com. And, I'm around. You can find
He's
me.
around.
It's S-A-M-M. You type Rick Sammon, S-A-L-M-O-N, you're not going to find me. You
No,
go
it's
Rick Sammon,
S-A-M-M.
you're going
Yeah.
to find me.
And expect to see some Sony stuff when you go to Rick's site.
Yep.
It's a Sony of his own. All right. Well, thanks to you all. Thanks to all of our sponsors. Thanks for checking in with us, everybody. Mr. Sammon, always a pleasure to have you here.
It is so much fun coming
Erik,
down
always
here.
the same to have you here.
Yeah.
And Kathy Perupsky
Yes.
in the house. K-pop, getting it done. We'll see you guys next week right here. On the grid. Take care.